Hello everyone, welcome to this class. And now let us continue one more bacterial disease that is called plague. Let us now talk about it. What is exactly plague? So I'm sure that you have heard about plague, and you may have heard about rats as well. Whenever we talk about the plague, definitely we talk about rats. Now, what is the connection of the rats when it is a bacterial disease? Let us talk about it. So first of all, we need to know that it is in the causative agent of the plague. It is a bacteria that is called Yersinia pestis. So it is a bacterial disease. Now you may ask that how rats are involved. So I'll let you know about it. Don't worry. So it is a bacterial disease, and what is the causative agent? So causative agent it is called as Yersinia pestis. So basically it is Yersinia pestis. Now it is a bacteria. Now whatever I'm going to tell you now, it is very important. Actually, this Yersinia pestis, it is a endoparasite. Yes, this bacteria live in someone else's body. So what is that someone else's? Let me tell you. So it is basically the this Yersinia pestis I'm telling you. This is the causative agent of the plague, and this is actually a endoparasite. So it is the endoparasite on Xenopsilus, or Xenopsilla rather, on Xenopsilla, not Xenopsilus. It is Xenopsilla. Xenopsilla, it is actually a rat flea. I mean, it is a flea-like organ. It is a flea. It lives on rat. So it is also called as rat flea. That is why. So this Xenopsilla, it is also called as rat flea. So this is also called as rat flea. So what we need to understand, this Yersinia pestis, it is an endoparasite on Xenopsilla, and this Xenopsilla, it behave, or it is a ectoparasite. I should say, this Xenopsilla, it is ectoparasite on rats. Okay, so here where are rats involved? So Yersinia pestis, I'm saying it is endoparasite on Xenopsilla. Okay, Xenopsilla is what? So Xenopsilla, it is a rat flea. That's fine. Itself, this Xenopsilla, yes, this Xenopsilla, that means rat flea I'm talking about. It itself, it is an ectoparasite on rats. So this is something what you need to understand. Okay, so that means Xenopsilla is living on the rat, and Yersinia pestis is living on the Xenopsilla. Such kind of example, it makes a hyperparasitism. So what it makes? It makes a example of hyperparasitism. Hyperparasitism. So everyone, it shows the example of hyperparasitism. That is again the another thing that we should aware of, right? About this Yersinia pestis. Again, important. Now let us talk about the symptoms. Okay, or how human have this disease. So we know that rats are everywhere almost, and they are more over the places where we store grain and so when they move from one place to another place, there are chances that they shed off these Xenopsilla. So this Xenopsilla, you know, may be there, of course, in that area too. Apart from this, if this Xenopsilla bites, of course, if this Xenopsilla bites a human, that is how also the Yersinia pestis enter. So I'm telling you, Yersinia pestis, it is a major causative agent, right? Although Yersinia pestis is living within the Xenopsilla, so that is an endoparasite, and this Xenopsilla, it is an ectoparasite on rat. So this is important, and it is example of hyperparasitism we need to understand. Fine. Okay. Now, what are the symptoms, or how it is spread? Basically, so of course it is spread through the rat, so it is a vector. So how it is spread? So it is a spread through vector, that is rats. So it is a vector-borne disease, I should say, and that vector are rats. Okay, that is another thing that we are aware of. What are the symptoms? Let us talk about it. What are the symptoms of the disease? Okay, based on the symptoms, I'll let you know what are the area of infection. But before I let you the area of infection or symptoms, you should know that it is a exogenous variety. This bacteria itself, it is an exogenous variety. Of course, Yersinia pestis, it is not indigenous. Means how in India, how this virus or how this bacteria basically get this. So this bacteria come along with grains, you know. So it comes along with grains. Yes, so it is a exogenous variety. This is also a MCQ, maybe MCQ. It is an exogenous variety. I mean to say this bacteria, it is not it is not Indian, right? This bacteria is not Indian. That is why it is exogenous variety, and it came in India around in 1895. It reaches India in 1895. Okay, in 1895. So that is important. Let us now talk about the symptoms. So symptoms, or rather I should say, where what is the site of infection, we should know. So based on the site of infection, we can have three type of plague. We can have bubonic plague, right? We can have respiratory plague, or we can have septicemic plague. So let us talk about the types of plague, and this classification is actually on the basis of infection. So on the basis of infection, the plague can be of various type. And what are these various type basically? So it can be a bubonic plague. First we can have bubonic plague. Now what is the meaning of bubonic plague? In bubonic plague, basically what happens, uh, lymph node swells. So here lymph node swell, and we know that lymph nodes are present in all the body of ours, in the all body parts of our body. Of course, in the whole body of us we have lymph node. But most commonly it is associated with, so it is most commonly associated with the groin region, pubic region basically, and axilla means underarms and axilla. These two regions are more affected. So we are having a swelling here in these regions. So that is first, that is bubonic plague. What about the second? The second plague that we will talk about, that is pulmonary plague. Pulmonary plague means where the bacteria causes respiratory infection. So it is a respiratory infection that observed here. It is a respiratory infection that is observed here. And the third, that is a next one, that is called as septicemic plague. What actually happens in septicemic plague? In septicemic plague, there is an infection of the blood. So means, the bacteria reaches to the blood, of course. So that is basically, it's a blood infection, I should say. And whenever there is a blood infection, so we know that there can be anemia. Destruction of RBC may happen, so that can lead to anemia. So anemia is one of the major symptoms here. So that is a little about plague. If I talk about treatment, the last, then we know that treatment is antibiotics. So with that, we have done all bacterial diseases. I guess we have done 8 bacterial diseases. So let me just give you all the diseases what we have done. You can check for the playlist, right? We have done typhoid, we have done pneumonia, we have done diphtheria, we have done pertussis, uh, we have done plague now, and that's the 5th one. What else? 5 diseases only we have done? No. We have done tuberculosis, 6th. We have done leprosy, 7th. So I guess 7 diseases we have covered, right? So again, typhoid, pneumonia, TB, plague, diphtheria, pertussis, leprosy. So yes, these 7 diseases we have covered. In now next lecture, from the next lecture, we will observe virus diseases. So we'll study about the virus diseases. Thank you very much.